What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Cosmic Wonder. Today we have a lot of new exciting updates for Spider-Man Brand New Day. We have a few different casting announcements to talk about today, one of which could imply Miles Morales' debut in the Marvel Cinematic Universe in Spider-Man Brand New Day. We also have great news for the action and the more grounded aspect of Spider-Man Brand New Day, which a lot of fans really want, and we have news about the potential villain of the film. This Spider-Man film has been shrouded in mystery lately. Once upon a time, we pretty much knew what this movie was going to be about. Actually, there were a couple of times that we knew what this movie was going to be about. Originally, coming off of Spider-Man No Way Home, it was supposed to be a pretty grounded street-level story. And it looks like we might be back to that, which we'll get into in this video. We might be back to the street-level grounded story again, but originally, coming off of No Way Home, Marvel wanted the story to be pretty grounded, street-level. Peter Parker was basically going to give up Peter Parker and focus on becoming Spider-Man, get new friends because MJ and Ned were gone and don't know who he is. There were talks about teaming up with Daredevil and going up against Kingpin, which would have made total sense considering what Marvel Studios' plans were for Daredevil Born Again, and that still might play a role in Spider-Man Brand New Day. But then we heard that Sony wanted something completely different, and they didn't want street level or grounded. They wanted huge multiversal, and they wanted the other Spider-Man to come back, and Venom and other people as well. Noel could have been the main villain of the film. It was almost pretty much the opposite of street level and grounded, and Tom Holland and Zendaya even stated that they saw a script at one point in time and they were so happy about it that they were jumping around and dancing in their hotel room. However, at this point in time, it seems like that script that Tom Holland once read is not really the script for the movie anymore. Spider-Man 4, or Spider-Man Brand New Day, who knows if that was the original title back then, that was supposed to come out before Avengers Doomsday. Now it's coming out after Avengers Doomsday, and Robert Downey Jr. is returning as Dr. Doom. And this most certainly matters for the continuity of the story in the MCU for the multiverse and Dr. Doom. And I do think that they are going to play upon the fact that Robert Downey Jr., the actor who is playing Doom, looks just like Peter's old mentor, Tony Stark. So with all of these changes, we're starting to learn a lot more information about this new Spider-Man film. And I use new because I don't believe we know too much about it right now. However, over the past couple of days and today, we have learned some new, pretty awesome information about details of Spider-Man Brand New Day. In a new report from Deadline, The Bear's Liza Colin-Zayas has closed a deal to join Spider-Man Brand New Day. This is great news as she is a very talented actress, but of course the big question is, who is she playing? Deadline did not know, they simply said it's going to be a mystery role, but right away a lot of people thought that she might be playing Rio Morales. And I believe a lot of people are really thinking this because she is Puerto Rican, and Miles Morales' mother, Rio Morales, is Puerto Rican as well. Now, this wouldn't really be the first time we've heard about Miles Morales coming to the MCU. In fact, Kevin Feige not too long ago said that he would love Miles to be in the MCU, but he has to appear in Beyond the Spider-Verse first. Now, unfortunately, we have a release date for Beyond the Spider-Verse. Right now, it's set to come out on June 4th of 2027, which means it comes out after Spider-Man Brand New Day, which comes out July 31st of 2026. But just because Kevin Feige said that Beyond the Spider-Verse has to happen first doesn't mean that it won't happen in Spider-Man Brand New Day. It doesn't mean that him and Sony can't work out a deal to get Miles in the MCU before then. In fact, if they wanted to increase the hype for Beyond the Spider-Verse, including a live-action Miles Morales in Spider-Man Brand New Day might be a good idea. And keep in mind, it's just contracts. It's just agreements. Sure, Sony has the rights, but they also have the rights to Peter Parker's Spider-Man as well, and he's in the MCU right now. Plus, not to mention, Tom Holland talked about how amazing it would be to mentor Miles Morales in the MCU, and then when he leaves the MCU finally to retire from it, Miles Morales could take over, and that might be Marvel Studios' plans. After all, they did tease us in Spider-Man Homecoming with Miles' uncle, Aaron Davis, the Prowler, played by Childish Gambino. And he literally said he had a nephew. So Miles Morales does exist in the MCU already, and depending on what Marvel Studios has been working on for this new script for Spider-Man Brand New Day, they could have worked out a deal with Sony to finally get him to be a key character in the MCU, or at least introduce him and then build him up to be a main character. Now, of course, this isn't confirmed, but it would be really cool to see her play Miles' mother, Rio Morales, and get Miles in the MCU. Now, according to another report, Peng Zhang is going to serve as the stunt coordinator for Spider-Man Brand New Day. And this is awesome news because he was the stunt coordinator for Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. And the stunts and the fighting in that movie were fantastic. So to bring that to Spider-Man Brand New Day is a really big win. And this makes total sense considering the fact that the director for Spider-Man Brand New Day, Destin Daniel Cretton, directed Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. And it would make a lot of sense that he would bring some of his team over to Spider-Man Brand New Day, especially if they did an amazing job, which they did. Now, according to an exclusive report from MaxBlizz.com, Marvel Studios has concept art designed right now featuring Daniel Wu as Mr. Negative. They state that while Wu is currently the frontrunner for the role, a final decision has yet to be made, which is pretty typical. Marvel Studios talks with a bunch of different people about specific roles before they finally decide on who's going to play that role, but it seems like Daniel Wu is their top choice. And here's where a lot of fans might really get excited here. According to Max Blizz and insider reports, Destin Daniel Cretton had one condition for taking on the film, and that was to move away from the multiverse plot. And this actually lines up with other reports that we've been hearing recently from insiders stating that Spider-Man Brand New Day might kind of be like Ant-Man and the Wasp, meaning that it kind of takes place before/at the same time that Avengers Doomsday takes place. Before we got Avengers Infinity War, and then we got Ant-Man and the Wasp, which showed us what they were doing before the snap, before Avengers Infinity War, and then the post-credit scene showed us them being snapped. All but Ant-Man, who got stuck in the quantum realm, and that led to one of the biggest plot points of Avengers Endgame, the time travel aspect of it all, and Ant-Man would go on to become a major character in Endgame. Now, it's really hard to imagine an Avengers movie without Spider-Man. He's one of the big faces of the MCU that we've gotten since Avengers Endgame. But another way that they could handle this is to simply involve Doom in what is happening in Spider-Man Brand New Day. You can have most of the film be a grounded street level movie, but then towards the end, show us the multiverse kind of falling apart. Show us Dr. Doom being the real threat and Spider-Man noticing this. And this could take place at the very end or even in a post-credit scene after Spider-Man defeats Mr. Negative. While Spider-Man Brand New Day is happening, we could notice some things that might be kind of going wrong with our universe. And then by the end, once he defeats Mr. Negative, you could really dive into the fact that the multiverse is kind of about to be destroyed. And it's all due to this one person who looks exactly like Tony Stark. That would be a pretty good ending or post-credit scene for Spider-Man Brand New Day and would really bring him into the main story for Avengers Secret Wars. But again, I would really love him to be involved in Avengers Doomsday. I'd love to see him in that film. I think it might be a little weird without him. But we'll have to wait and see on that. It's not confirmed yet. Now, before we did have some plot details released for Brand New Day, but we're unsure if these are still accurate. So take it with a grain of salt, but here was some plot details released before. Spider-Man Brand New Day follows the events of Avengers Doomsday. Peter Parker is determined to lead a normal life and focus on college, stepping back from his responsibilities as Spider-Man. However, peace is short-lived when a deadly new threat emerges, endangering his friends and forcing Peter to reconsider his promise. With the stakes higher than ever, Peter reluctantly returns to his Spider-Man identity and finds himself teaming up with an unlikely ally to protect those he loves. Now, take it with a big grain of salt. It's something that Max Blizz listed on their website, but I assume that since Marvel Studios is doing so many changes with Spider-Man Brand New Day already, some of this, or maybe even a lot of this, has already changed. But either way, it does sound like Spider-Man Brand New Day is shaping up to be a pretty great movie so far, with it being kind of grounded in street level. We have Sadie Sink already confirmed to play a role in this, whether that's MJ or Jean Grey or somebody else. It's really cool to see her appear in the MCU, and they've added some other great cast members as well. So we're on our way to a great movie. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest Marvel or Spider-Man news, rumors, or leaks. You can catch us on TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.